I'm Angelo Peluso for On the Water Television. The goal of any retrieve is to make the fly appear natural, in essence, a fraudulent imitation of a real life form. One of the most fundamental retrieves involves a simple long pull. A long pull and a pause. You take a long pull, you pause. You take a long pull, you pause. What that basically does is allows the fly to move, stop, and then move again. An alternative or a variation of that is the short pull. It's a short, snappy pull, just maybe 6 inches or so. And what that does is the fly will jerk and stop, jerk and stop, simulating an injured baitfish that's kind of on the move, stopping, on the move, and going. What you can also do is you can change up and go from a long pull with a pause to a short. So you can go long, long, short, short, or any variation thereof. Remember, the key is changing up the pace of the retrieve until you determine which specific retrieve the fish are responding to. And an important point to remember is that fish will vary their preference from day to day. Some days the long retrieve, some days the short retrieve. Some days they'll hit on the pause. Other days they'll hit during the retrieve itself. Another interesting technique that I learned from a tarpon guide in Florida is the wrist flick. And basically what that is in combination with either a long or a short pull, at the end of the retrieve you flick your wrist. You flick your wrist. And what that does is at the last moment during a retrieve, it causes the fly to move about in an erratic fashion. Now a fish can mistake that for a motion to escape, or it can be viewed as a change in behavior of the bait, which in essence creates vulnerability. At that point, during the flick, very often you will stimulate a fish to strike. I refer to this next technique as the figure 8 crawl. It's an adaptation of a technique I learned in freshwater when fishing nymphs for trout. Basically what you do, using your fingers and thumb, is manipulate the line in a figure 8 fashion. This technique is especially effective when fishing for striped bass with either crustacean or crab patterns. The figure 8 motion allows that fly to crawl about the bottom in a very natural way. The last technique I'd like to demonstrate today is the double overhand retrieve. What this requires is that you move your stripping basket to the front. The double hand retrieve is very effective when fishing for species like pelagic game fish, bonito, little tunny, Spanish mackerel. It also works on striped bass when they're in the mood to chase a fast-moving bait. What this technique involves is taking your rod, placing it under your armpit. Once you've accomplished that, you grasp the line and use 2 hands to manipulate the fly during the retrieve. And simply, it's pulling the line in a double overhand fashion into the stripping basket. You can do that in a rapid rate, you can do that in a slow rate, and you can even alternate that if you'd like on occasion by moving the line and flicking it. One of the things that's very important when using this technique is to always stay in touch with the fly and the line. When a fish strikes, you set and you come up simultaneously and you set the hook. It's a classic retrieve for albacore, false albacore in the fall, off Montauk and in any rip areas where the fish quickly maneuver to grab bait that's being tumbled about in current.